Hi everybody, Quinn here again. Welcome back to another Zoobooks showcase. Now ever since you guys have watched my last Zoobooks videos about elephants, camels, and their relatives, and ostriches and other ratites, a lot of you folks have asked for more Zoobooks videos, and I said why not we do one about koalas and other Australian animals. So let's go to the land down under, mates, and explore the world of the koalas and other Australian animals. Shall we? Here we have some koalas right over here. Koalas are certainly near the top of everybody's list of the world's cutest animals, and it's easy to see why people love them. They're covered with thick and fuzzy fur and look like they were made to be cuddled. Most of the time they have a sleepy and friendly look about them. In fact, koalas look so much like living teddy bears that many people still call them koala bears. But the koalas aren't bears at all. They're not even closely related to them. Instead, they belong to an unusual group of mammals called marsupials. And like other marsupials, koalas have pouches that they use for carrying their babies in. To see koalas in their natural home, you have to go to Australia, and you'll only be able to find them in areas where certain types of eucalyptus trees are growing. Like I said, koalas like to eat the leaves of eucalyptus trees, and so they only live where eucalyptus trees grow. They're very fussy about the kinds of eucalyptus they'll eat. There are over 600 kinds growing in all parts of Australia, but koalas will eat the leaves of only 35 kinds that grow in eastern Australia. And here is the anatomy of the koala, right over here. Now here's a bizarre fact. Did you know that koalas are the only non-human and non-primate animals that have thumbs? And much like humans, no two fingerprints on a koala are exactly alike. Now the bizarre fact that koalas have 4 thumbs is something that pop culture often ignores, and I wish that that fact was acknowledged more often when popular media acknowledges making cartoon, movie, or TV show, or other animated forms of koalas. I mean, at least the Wildcrats, Zootopia 2, and The Wild acknowledge the fact that koalas have 4 thumbs. Which the fact that koala bears are the only non-human or non-primate animals to have thumbs kind of feels a little bit weird, don't you think? So we have the skeleton of the koala here. And there's also the anatomy of the kangaroo, which we'll get into later in the next page. Some more koalas here. And here we have the three subspecies of koalas. The Victoria koala, the first type of koala discovered, the New South Wales koala, and is still the koala most people think of as the typical koala. And we have the Queensland koala, which the norther up Australia you go, and the norther up in Australia you go, the less fur that koalas have, and in the southern bottom of Australia you go to, the more fur koalas have. In general, koalas that live in warmer climates have less fur than koalas that live in cooler places. The Queensland koala lives in one of the warmest places of Australia, and its fur is the thinnest of all. In Australia, the farther north you go, the warmer it gets, because the country is located south of the equator. And here we have the life cycle of the koala compared to a human baby. Marsupial babies are very small, only about the size of a coin though. Here's some more koalas. And it's not just koalas that live in Australia. There are plenty of other kinds of marsupials that live in Australia too, including the extinct thylacine or Tasmanian wolf, marsupial mouse, common wombat, the banded anteater, also known as the numbat, marsupial mole, cuscus, tiger quoll, horse-tail possum, and we'll get to the famous kangaroo later on. Koalas aren't the only marsupials that live in Australia. There are more than 170 other kinds of marsupials that share the island continent, and they come in a wide variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. In fact, Australia could be called the land of marsupials. And this whole page depicts all of these marsupials that have the same ecological niche as other mammals from outside of Australia. Convergent evolution at its finest. Animals that are unrelated, that evolve the same solutions to the same problems. and therefore these unrelated animals look similar to one another or behave in a similar way. Here we have the kangaroos, right here, the red kangaroo. And here's how they jump. They're the only animal known to science that actually uses less energy as it moves faster. This is because kangaroos have a unique ability to recycle energy. As strange as it may look, hopping is really a very good way of getting around. Large kangaroos can hop faster than horses can run. For short distances, they can move along at 40 miles per hour. To increase their speed, they simply take bigger and bigger hops. And no other animal on Earth can jump as far as a big kangaroo can. Grand kangaroos have been known to jump 44 feet in a single bound. They can also leap over a fence that's 11 feet high. When the foot of a kangaroo hits the ground, a large tendon in the leg is stretched like a rubber band. As it leaves the ground again, the tendon snaps back and helps to lift the animal into the air. As the kangaroo hops faster and faster, the rubber band snaps back faster and harder. More energy is stored and released in every hop. At speeds over 9 miles per hour, almost 2/3 of the energy used is recycled through the leg, tendons, and other parts of the body. For this reason, a kangaroo can hop for a very long time before it gets very tired. And here, it's not just the red kangaroo. Here are the other kinds of roos: wallaroo, tree kangaroos, desert rat kangaroos, and the wallabies, as well as a great kangaroo. There are some beddings right here, another wallaby, and some more kangaroos. And kangaroos are surprisingly powerful swimmers and can really swim across rivers and may even be seen swimming in the ocean. In water, a kangaroo kicks its legs differently than it does on land. Instead of moving both big legs at the same time, it moves one leg at a time. Sometimes large red and gray kangaroos will protect themselves from hunting dogs by leaping into a river or lake and swimming to deep water. If the dogs swim after them, the kangaroo grabs the dogs and holds their heads under the water until they drown. That's kind of scary. And here we have the strangest mammals on Earth, and they can only be found in Australia and New Guinea. There are only about two kinds: the duck-billed platypus, which we have over here in the middle, and on the right over here you will see the spiny anteater, also known as the echidna. Now, a female platypus doesn't sit on her eggs like a bird does. Instead, inside a burrow, she wraps her body around them to keep them warm. It takes about 8 days for the eggs to hatch, and with their sharp claws, platypuses dig burrows in the ground and live in them. The entrance tunnels are usually 10 to 20 feet long, but a female that's going to have babies builds a burrow with an extra long tunnel up to 100 feet long. At the end of the tunnel, she digs out a nesting chamber and lines it with grass and leaves. And all mammals living today are descended from ancient egg-laying reptiles called therapsids, like this one shown here. Of all living mammals, the platypus and echidna are the most like these primitive reptiles. And here are the eggs of a platypus compared to a chicken's. Platypus eggs look like small crocodile eggs. Like reptile eggs, they have a rubbery shell that bends when you touch them. There are usually 2 eggs, and they're stuck together to keep them from rolling around in the nest. And that's it for the monotremes. And that is going to be it for koalas and other Australian marsupials and wildlife. If you guys like this video, please make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have an animal-tastic day. See ya!